As global trade dynamics continue to shift, Canada finds itself once again at the center of cross-border tensions, this time reignited by renewed tariff threats from U.S. President Donald Trump. With Prime Minister Mark Carney and Donald Trump aiming to finalize a new trade agreement by July 21st, investors and policymakers alike are watching closely to see how the negotiations unfold and what they might mean for the Canadian economy. I'm now joined by Thomas Caldwell, chair of Caldwell Securities Limited, to break this down. Mr. Caldwell, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Theresa.
So it's been a pretty turbulent few months, to say the least. How have Trump's tariff threats on Canadian goods impacted investor confidence in Canadian markets overall?
Well, let me break that into two parts. The stock market in Canada has been fairly robust, but because remember, we're a fairly narrow market. We have large financials, our Canadian banks, and we have resources, energy, minerals type of thing. All of those done well. So the stock market per se has been pretty positive. Canadian banks are up 15, 16, 18%. The real challenge still remains external money coming into Canada to fund projects, to fund development. And that's at a pretty low ebb. And that's been the case for almost 10 years as we've had very serious anti-growth policies in place. So it's going to take a while before we become the destination of choice for international money. But I think we can get there. I think we can do that.
And with Trump's announcement over the weekend of him pausing all trade talks with Canada due to the digital services tax, is it just the beginning of a longer period of volatility?
No, he's just a joy to debate with. You know, he's intimidator, he's insulting, he's threatening. That's his style. We put a tax on revenues for a sales tax on some of the tech companies, which are, of course, his darlings because they supported him. That is the Yahoos, the Googles, etc. And then as soon as we did that, he said he's breaking off all discussions with us, not going to discuss anything anymore. He's just going to let us know what tariffs are. And then, of course, Mark Carney has come back and said, okay, maybe we made a mistake there. We'll back that up. Let's forget about that, take it off the table, and let's begin negotiations. So we're going back to negotiations. So he got a win there. He got a win on defense spending, and he got this win as well. So I imagine then now it comes down to negotiations. He seems to be pretty firm, though, on this aluminum, steel, and auto tariff business. So I don't. It'll be interesting to see if we can negotiate that down. But we don't know. But talks have resumed once we caved on this particular tax issue.
And are there any sectors or companies that could benefit from this new environment of protectionism?
Well, in Canada, again, it comes down. We have a very narrow focus, and our capital markets have shrunk dramatically over the last 10 years. There's only half the companies on the Toronto Stock Exchange that there were 10 years ago. There is no money for equity financing for junior companies, for public finance IPOs. I think the Toronto Stock Exchange has done one initial public offering per year for the last couple of years. That's insane. That's recession. That's depression type financing. So our capital markets have been pretty seriously damaged by some of the historical policies we've had.
Well, Mr. Caldwell, thank you so much for the time today.
You're very welcome.